Hi guys, welcome back to the Home and Homestead. If you're new to the channel, welcome. I'm Rebecca, and if not, thank you for joining me again today. So today we're going to do some leftovers from Thanksgiving or the holidays, where we make a delicious, savory, and satisfying soup in the Instant Pot. We'll be making a butternut squash, sausage, and wild rice soup. Using leftover butternut squash, you can also substitute some leftover sweet potato. If you made a sweet potato or butternut squash mash side dish during Thanksgiving or the holidays, this could be a nice use of that leftover. So let's head to the kitchen, and we'll be using our Instant Pot today to prepare this delicious soup. So I have two of my Instant Pots going right now. On the left I have my 8-quart, and on the right I have my 3-quart. So in the 3-quart Instant Pot I have 1 cup of wild rice and 2 cups of chicken or vegetable stock, and I cook that on high pressure for 25 minutes, and I'm letting it do a 15-minute natural release. It's been going for 13 minutes, so in 2 more minutes I can remove the lid and our wild rice will be ready to be added later. Then in my 8-quart Instant Pot on the left, I cooked up 1 medium butternut squash, which was about 3 to 4 pounds of a squash, and I seeded, peeled, and cut that into 1-inch pieces, and I added 4 cups of a chicken or vegetable broth. And then I cooked that on high pressure for 10 minutes and did a quick release. And next we're going to use the immersion blender and puree that up. Now if you're using a butternut squash or sweet potato mash from Thanksgiving or the holidays, you could skip this first step and just use your leftovers for this recipe later on. So now let's take the cover off of our 8-quart Instant Pot. I did a quick release as I just mentioned, and the little red lever is flat to the cover, so I can remove the lid or the cover without issue. So here we have our butternut squash pieces all cooked down, and they cooked with the quart of vegetable stock, so they'll have nice flavor. Now what we're going to do is use our immersion blender and puree this up to the consistency that we would like for our soup. This is all personal preference. If you want it extra smooth, do a really good job pureeing. If you like big pieces of squash, then you can leave it a little more chunky. Okay, our natural release has finished, so I'll press cancel and remove the lid for our wild rice. All right, there we go. We have a nice smooth puree with our butternut squash. So now I'm just going to pour this into another container, and I'll rinse out this pot so we can move on with sauteing some sausage. If you have a separate pot for your Instant Pot, you can just remove this liner, put your clean one in, and keep going. All right, we have the butternut squash puree off in a bowl and our liner pan all cleaned. We'll move on to the next step, which will be sauteing our sausage. So you can use 1 package of kielbasa or some other smoked sausage, and Dewey sausage works really well for this as well. And you're going to cut that up into your desired size pieces. I like to do about 1/2-inch slices of the sausage. We're going to brown the sausage on saute mode. You hit saute. You want it on normal. And it automatically is set to about 30 minutes of saute time. Now you know it's on, as it says it on the screen. I'll just do a little drizzle of olive oil. We'll add our smoked sausage or kielbasa. And we're going to brown this. We're going to cook this sausage until it's nice and caramelized. All right, our sausage has a nice amount of color on it. So we can remove it from the pan. We're going to reserve the cooking fat in the Instant Pot liner pan or liner pot. set that cooked sausage aside. Now we're going to saute about 2.5 cups of onion that I've coarsely chopped. It ends up being about 2 medium-sized onions. We'll put this right into the Instant Pot liner pan. And this will help to deglaze the bottom of the pan. You can also add a little drizzle of olive oil if needed to help prevent any burning to the bottom of the pan. Now we'll let the onion saute and caramelize. We'll help scrape up some of that good flavor we have on the bottom of this Instant Pot liner pot. See, as the onion starts to cook and the moisture comes out of the onions, we're able to get some of that nice cooking flavor from the sausage off of the bottom of the pan. There we go. Now that the pan is nicely deglazed, you can hit the saute button again, and that'll bring you to the less mode of the saute so that it's not quite as hot. So we'll let these onions cook a little bit just to get that raw flavor out of them and allow them to caramelize a little bit. So now our onions have been nicely cooked through and they've caramelized slightly. So now we're going to add 2 cups of corn. You can use canned or frozen or fresh whole corn kernels. And then we're going to add that sausage right back in. We'll mix all these ingredients together. And now we'll add our butternut squash puree back in as well. Now again, if you're using leftover butternut squash mash or sweet potato mash, you would just pour that right in here at this point in time in the recipe. Now I'm going to mix all of these ingredients until they're well combined. And I'll place the cover on the Instant Pot. Now I'm going to put it on saute mode, on less. And we're going to let this simmer for about 20 minutes. And I'll come back in and stir occasionally to help prevent sticking on the bottom of the pot. So now we'll let this simmer for about 20 minutes. Now you may get the hot message on your Instant Pot like it's showing on the screen. That's totally normal. All that is telling you is that your Instant Pot liner pan has reached the temperature desired for your saute mode. If you notice that this says burn, then it means that it has become too hot. You want to go in and stir your contents. That may make it go away. Or you can toggle between the saute button, between normal, more, and less. And usually when you hit the less, that'll just cool it down a little bit and that message should go away. But hot is totally normal. Alright, so our butternut squash and sausage soup has been simmering on saute. So now we can add our wild rice. And as I said earlier, I prepared this in my 3-quart Instant Pot. You could also prepare it in your same Instant Pot and just put it in a bowl until you'd add it later. So we'll add in that wild rice. And this will help add a little substance to our soup and help it thicken up a little bit too. Now I will stir that wild rice in. And I'll put the cover back on. Now I'll hit saute mode, hit it 3 times, now it's on less. And we're going to let this simmer on saute less for 10 minutes. That'll help that wild rice cook through and incorporate with our soup. All right, the 10-minute simmer with the wild rice has finished, and now it says off. So we will remove the lid. And I'll give everything a nice stir. So now you can add half and half optionally. If you'd like a little bit more of a creamy butternut squash and sausage soup, then you would add a half cup of half and half. And if not, you can leave it out. We'll stir that in. That just gives it a little bit of a creamy finish for your soup. Now let's give it a taste, and we can add salt and pepper to taste. So let's add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, an 1/8 teaspoon of black pepper. It really depends on how salty the broth was that you started with, as well as the sausage that you browned up and cooked with. If it's real salty, you may not need to add any salt at all. All right, now I'm going to boil some of this up and we can have a taste and a closer look at our finished butternut squash, sausage, and wild rice soup. All right, here you have it. We have our butternut squash, sausage, and wild rice soup. We were able to take some extra butternut squash and prepare it in the Instant Pot, cook up some wild rice, and add a few more ingredients, and we have a delicious, savory, and satisfying soup. It also has a real slight sweetness to it from that butternut squash. Now I like this as a nice thick soup. If you prefer a thinner soup, you could add 2 to 4 cups of chicken or vegetable stock during that first 20-minute cooking when we combine the corn, sausage, and butternut squash, and we cooked it on simmer or saute on low for 20 minutes. You can add that extra broth at that point to get to the desired soup consistency that you like. So let's have a taste. We have nice big pieces of corn and onion and the sausage with that thick and creamy butternut squash and the wild rice. What a delicious combination. This would be really tasty with the crusty Dutch oven bread as well, or simply standing alone by itself. This is a delicious, hearty, and filling soup, and I hope you give this a try. You can use fresh butternut squash, or as I mentioned earlier, this is a great way to use up extra from Thanksgiving or the holidays. If you had the butternut squash mash, or maybe you made a sweet potato mash, you could also substitute either of those in to create this delicious soup. If you'd like more inspiration or ideas on hearty soups or rustic breads, you can check out a number of videos I have, and some of those are also created in the Instant Pot like we did today. Well, if you're new to the channel or haven't done so yet, I would really appreciate you subscribing. If you enjoyed this or any other videos that you watch, please be sure to give them a thumbs up. I hope you're having a fantastic day. See you next time. Take care.